The GlobalCast showcases SFU students' diverse stories, a podcast that fosters inclusivity by sharing in intercultural conversations, opportunities, and fun segments with our SFU Global Community. We want to start by respectfully acknowledging the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Kwikwetlem, and Musqueam peoples on whose sacred, unceded, and ancestral territories we are recording today. In the fifth episode, we are joined by fellow students from the SFU Global Community as they talk about their international student experience, traveling to Vancouver, navigating through quarantine, and what they're looking forward to most returning to campus in the fall.
Hi everyone, welcome to the GlobalCast. My name is Ise and I will be your host for today's episode about international student experiences when it comes to remote learning and coming back to Canada as fall is now in person. I am a 4th/5th year, depending how you look at it, in engineering and biomedical physiology. I am an international student from Mauritius and I came to SFU 4 years ago directly from Hong Kong, my high school in Hong Kong. And I'm joined today by Janvi and Franjali. I'm so excited to hear from you guys. Hello.
My name is Janvi and I'm a 4th year in economics right now. Hopefully we'll be graduating in 2 semesters. I'm also an international student and I'm from Sri Lanka. I came to SFU through an international student pathway. It's a college called Fraser International College, and we have a lot of international students joining SFU through the programs that offered there. And yeah, it's been pretty great so far.
Hi everyone. So I'm also starting my degree through international pathway. So I'll be joining from International High School in India. It's my 2nd year at SFU, so pretty excited and pretty nervous altogether.
Nice. But today we'll be diving a little bit more specifically about traveling back and just returning to campus and kind of like hopefully the later stages of this remote experience. So first and foremost, can you share a little bit about your experience that you had coming back to Vancouver for Janvi and planning to come back for Franjali?
I think my experience is mainly with actually coming back to Vancouver. I came back probably like a little over 24 hours ago, and the process was much more intense than if you were to come back pre-COVID, let's say. In some ways, it's really helpful that you have all the information that you kind of need on the Government of Canada, the website. It details all the documents that you need ahead of time. And that really helps with kind of planning before you actually depart from wherever you are right now. Just actually landing in customs and then going through that whole process of immigration and everything, it was a little uncertain, I feel, because I think coming to Vancouver at the time that I did, there was always this question that, hey, even if I'm double vaccinated, if they do a PCR test on arrival, would it be the kind of situation where I would be asked to quarantine regardless? So the situation I'm in right now is that I don't have to quarantine because I have done, I've gotten both of my shots more than 2 weeks before I traveled. So I was lucky enough, but yeah, if that's not the case, then it's kind of uncertain. It's a little stressful, but you do have all the information that you need ahead of time. So that's really helpful.
Yeah, because I also traveled back home right during the pandemic. And I traveled a little earlier than you. So I was back before the summer semester because I did have classes during the summer semester.
Yeah.
And it's quite crazy how much 3 months have a difference in how they handle it, because I had to do the whole hotel thing. Like you had to prove that you had a hotel booking, and then you had to prove that you were gonna take like not public transport because they weren't too sure about your condition, and so they can't allow you to take public transport. You need to disclose it if you have a personal vehicle, if you take a taxi, like those kind of things. And it's a lot. And like, to be honest, as an international student, just coming into Canada and already having to have like 3 different documents, but Pranjali, you haven't come back to Vancouver yet. So you're actually in that planning process. How is that?
Yeah. So I had my tickets for 22nd August, but it has been now postponed to 24th September. So it's really like uncertain because I was packing and stuff like that. So it's just yesterday that I came to know that, okay, I'll not be able to travel. So in India, especially, you have to have like tests at one place and then the other place and then the other place. So, it's a whole lot of complications, as you were mentioning, through the documents and like stuff like that. Also, on top of that, it's my first time coming to Canada. So it's the anxiety of, having an international flight and all the related stuff. Yeah.
Because would that be the first time you're leaving home?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that must be quite stressful, especially like essentially moving your place of residence.
Yes,
of,
definitely. I have to take pans, I have to take towels, I have to take, I have to pack those things as well. I have to take slippers, and I don't know what kind of stuff. Yeah. I just go on YouTube and search like what things to carry to Canada. That's what I do actually. Yeah.
There's some really, really helpful videos about what to pack. It was amazing. I mean, I think even like SFU resident services, they gave me a checklist when I was first leaving with like, hey, you should make sure to have those kind of things. I was like, I was super grateful for that. I mean, Janvi, did you have to go to quarantine when you went back to Sri Lanka?
I did. I did 2 weeks. 1 week was at a hotel, and it was very, very nice. It was they provided food like 3 meals a day, and there was always one person who was coming in and checking our temperature twice a day just to whether we're okay. And we made friends with all these people. They all came in, not into the rooms, but in hazmat suits. And the second week was at home, so that was really nice.
But it was awesome. I mean, like quarantine in Mauritius was really nice. I think it was also the excitement of being home that made it go a little bit faster. But but when I came back, I still had to do 2 weeks in Canada because it was in April. But like to pass the time during those 2 weeks when I was like, because I had to quarantine in my room because I had roommates. And so I wasn't allowed to leave my bedroom at all. And I feel like that makes it so much harder. So I had like my yoga mat on the side and I was like, okay, I guess I'll stretch, and then I'd stretch for like 1 minute max and just like go back to my bed and be like, oh, what can I watch on Netflix? And just try to get as many movie recommendations as possible. I also packed some books because like as much as screens are nice, I feel like my computer was just overheating and telling me like, hey, take a break from me, please. I need to turn it off for like 5 minutes at least. Okay, I get it. But Pranjali, how do you pass the time? Because you still like can't really go out of your home, right?
Yeah, so it's basically the books. So I also love reading books, and it's like I have been trying different dishes like cooking. So it may be a little bit of hobbies, and obviously that's so much of family time. So I like it in a way because I see that it will disappear after a month when I'll be in Canada. So I'll be missing them. So I just want to make most of the time.
A big part of the self-care when you're in quarantine or when you're just kind of waiting around and not really sure what you're doing and like not really allowed to go but not really allowed to stay. I think it's a weird moment, and there's definitely a lot of self-care that needs to be prioritized in those moments. And like for me, calling family or keeping up with friends that I haven't kept up with in a while. And I just like info dump on people. But that's also kind of who I am as a human being. Like I'm just very hi, want to catch up? Here's everything that's happening in my life. Want to give me what's happening in your life? And it's that kind of thing. But it definitely helped me with self-care because I feel like it grounds you a little bit more to reality. Because when you're too much on your own, like it's whatever anxieties you have at the moment are just going to pile up, right? Because you're going to keep thinking about them, and then like your emotional energy is going to be spent on them, your physical energy to be spent on them. And so when you kind of like distance yourself and take a little bit of a wider look, a wider perspective on what's going on, it makes it easier to breathe, definitely, from my experience. Like what are some kind of like self-care practices that maybe rose during isolation times?
I definitely caught up with my high school friends. So yeah, so I had picked up different streams. So in India, you just have to pick it after your 10th standard. So you have to choose that if you will be doing engineering and whatnot. So it was engineering for me. So I really I just messaged up them through Instagram. I found them, hunted them. Yeah, so it was pretty nice. I also got like calls and phone numbers. So yeah, it was a part of self-care. Also, like my grandparents, they live a little far away. So having a touch with them, because they're staying alone and they're like in the age that's most susceptible. So I think having a connect with them also kept me grounded and like interlocked with the community and the family. Yeah.
Yes, actually, I think it's like Pranjali said, it's mainly family for me as well. Because surprisingly, well, I guess not so surprising because we were on lockdown in Sri Lanka, but I spend more time with my family than I have ever had in my entire life, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just really amazing to have that kind of experience where we would all just sit together and, I don't know, have meals together, which we couldn't before because, life was so fast paced and my parents were both doing something or the other. So it was kind of difficult to find a time where we would all just be together. But now I think we all appreciate how much time we have to just
Mm-hmm.
do little things and find out things about each other, which has been amazing. And they also got me a little keyboard to play on once I came back. So I've been I've been playing music because I couldn't do that while I was here. There's no accessible piano. So yeah, it's been amazing.
Do you guys have any anxieties about coming back to campus?
So the anxiety of leaving home for the very first time for such a long distance, because I had high school in other cities. So I have been living like 2 years away, but it was like only a 4 to 5 hour drive. But now it's a whole different country, whole different zone. So yeah, that's anxiety. Plus, I've taken quite lot of opportunities, and I'm like stressed. How will I handle them? Yeah.
I'm just super excited to see profs
Yeah.
in person
Yeah.
though. Yeah, and have like
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
interesting conversations because it's so hard to just like show up on the Zoom office hour
Mhm.
and be like, yeah, cool, let's talk about this and have questions about this. Like for me, it feels a little bit unnatural, and to kind of just like stay after class and be like, oh, you mentioned this, and I was just curious about this and stuff. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm so excited for that aspect.
I feel that too. I am also interested in like looking at the campus. So, Instagram and everywhere we are seeing that SFU is, posting all the good stuff about the university. And I'm like, oh, I'm missing on this and I'm missing on that. So definitely the university campus, the library, and the people, and obviously the profs and TAs. So it's a little difficult, having a different time zone class. So you have to ask for different like office hours. So maybe you can just can you just do this for me? Can you do that for me? Now it's like, okay, we'll have a uniform time. So yeah, I think it'll be better.
I think I'm also excited about seeing profs' faces because I really went at least one semester without seeing any of my profs' faces last summer, which was crazy to me. I had to Google their names to find out what they look like because they kept their cameras off during lectures. So it was more of a, hey, you can keep your cameras off, we can just have a conversation, which felt really nice too at the same time because I am an introvert. So it just felt like it was a one-on-one thing, even if there were 100 other people in the class. But also it's nice to see faces.
On campus, it's so much easier to see the friends that you make on campus, right? Like your SFU
Yeah.
friends are gonna be on campus, much easier to plan stuff, much easier to be like, hey, do you want to grab coffee? Like I've met a lot of people through a Global Connections program, and we've known each other since like your first semester at SFU.
Yeah. So I also joined my in the first semester itself. I joined GCP in my first semester itself. So yeah, it was really great.
Last fall.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was so intrigued by the community of GCP, and I was like, okay, I want to be like those CLs and the senior CLs, the community leaders. So they create such a good environment, such inclusivity. So yeah, you just feel connected.
It's so nice. I got to meet, like, of course, I know all the community leaders just because I was a coordinator, and just meeting members, like the members that show up to the event, and you have conversations with them, and you notice their names, and you kind of like also get to know them through the emails that you exchange, and it's just really cool. And I really hope that all the first years and second years that signed up for the program to meet other people really feel comfortable reaching out to CLs and reaching out to coordinators. Like, if you see my face and my name somewhere, like, feel free to really say hi and tell me that you know me from the GCP, and like we'll automatically have something to talk about. Like, there's not going to be an awkward moment of, oh, what do we talk about now? Like, there is a topic of conversation. But besides that, I think that there's definitely something to be said about the efforts that have been done with like department student unions and clubs to just kind of connect people, so that when first year and second years who have never been on campus before come back to SFU, there's already some existing connections.
Yeah.
Because I think that's such a scary moment, but also super exciting, because like suddenly you have all those new people you can meet. And I'm really excited to kind of go back to a more socializing aspect of life.
Yeah.
Other than I'm suspicious of you aspect of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyone who's coming back, who came back recently, who's planning to come back, there is quite a bit of resources within International Services for Students that you can access. I definitely recommend looking through the welcome guides if you haven't done so. There's checklists for undergraduate students and for different pathways. So you'll be able to look through them, and there's a checklist. There's also different services and resources that are listed out. So your questions can be answered all through just one document, which I think is super helpful for international students, because we usually have like at least 5 different things to do to come back to Canada. And so to have all in one place and kind of understand it and streamline it a little bit, super helpful. All of that is going to be down below in the description. And for anyone who's also feeling a little anxious about finding those social connections and not sure where to start, the Global Connections program is definitely something to look into. There's other things that you can volunteer with. If volunteering is something that you're really passionate about, I definitely recommend it. I met a lot of people for volunteering. Find something that works for you, and please don't hesitate to email us, like gcmp@sfu.ca. We're student staff. Like, we're not staff that are completely removed from your own experience. We're student staff who know what's up and who know what it's like to be an undergrad student. So please reach out. But that's it from me. Thank you so much, Janvi and Pranjali. It was awesome to have you. Maybe we'll hear you on more podcasts in the future. That'd be super exciting. And with that, thank you and goodbye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the GlobalCast. If you have any questions you would like answered by us, or want to let us know what you'd like to hear in the next episode, leave us a message on Facebook or Instagram at SFU Global Community.